Trick or treat! Oh no, I lost Sam.
Oh no, my God.
Sam's down. This is what Kevin does in his basement by himself. Just has his toys and he's playing
True.
with them.
He didn't even know it was Halloween.
Oh my God, you're a struggling dude.
I need help. Hey everyone, welcome to Straight Jacket Talk, where it's two guys, a girl, and a horror show. My name is Kevin, and I'm joined by my usual co-hosts. We have a guy who likes to wear his costume on his t-shirt. It's Nathan.
I sure do love to wear my costume on my t-shirt.
We also have a girl who is the frankenest of hookers. It's Jill.
Yay.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. And tonight we have a special episode. We are joined by the Mouths of Madness for our spooktacular Halloween episode. First, we have Dan. Dan is the devil.
I'm late night with the devil. Yeah.
That's a show I want to watch. Next,
Oh, yeah.
we have the mayor of Halloween Town. It's Masquerade Bearclaw.
For those of you who couldn't recognize me, I'll take the mask off and excited to be here, Kevin.
Well, we're excited to have you, Bearclaw. And finally, we have the youngest member of Madness. He is a chef, and he's cooking up something spicy. It's Logan.
Hey, what's up?
I love it. You got any fresh fennel over there?
Yeah, I do.
Well, I'm glad you could all be here tonight to join us as we review Trick or Treat, such a classic for the Halloween season. Now, Trick or Treat is from 2007. It was written and directed by Michael Dougherty. It's based on his animated short he did in 1996 called Season's Greetings. Let's start this off with the budget game. Trick or Treat has a budget of $12 million. Do you guys know how much it grossed at the box office? Nathan, what do you think?
It had a budget of $12 million?
No lie.
What did they do with the other $12,500,000?
It had a limited release from what I understand. So I'm going to say it only actually made like I'll go 6 million.
Dude, I have no idea. I'm going to say 18 mil.
I didn't know this movie existed until you showed it to me a couple years ago. So I'm going to go with 2 million.
4 million?
I'm going to be a meat in the Logan and Nathan sandwich and go with 5 million.
Man, that's quite the sandwich.
It's a spicy meatball.
There's a lot of man in that sandwich.
Chef's cooking. Let him cook.
Oh my goodness. This is gonna
Yes, chef.
This is gonna blow the spicy meatball right out of the water. Trick or Treat only made $27,909 at the box office. So
Okay.
So we all lose by Price is Right rules.
yes, but Dan
Yeah.
would be the closest. It's
Never
crazy.
trust the
And
devil.
yeah, the devil knew. Nathan's correct. This had a limited release. It was actually only released in what were like film festivals and things like that. And that was in 2007. What ended up happening was it was then shelved for 2 years and wasn't actually released to physical media until 2009. And
So it was like straight to DVD basically then, right?
basically,
This movie didn't have a chance. Ugh.
the DVD and Blu-ray sales saved this movie. It made over $12 million. And it
Talk
became,
about a comeback.
yeah, it became like a cult following for this
They got
movie.
cult money.
That's still breaking even though.
Yeah, but that's pretty impressive for like DVD sales and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, currently on Rotten Tomatoes, Trick or Treat has an 83% critic score and a 72% audience score.
That's surprising.
Well, what are our thoughts on Trick or Treat? Before we get in the episode, if you guys could please hit the the like and subscribe button, and also hit the notification bell because when we have a new video, you'll be the first to know. Isn't that right, Nathan?
Yes, it's a privilege.
Let's get into it. Trick or Treat. This movie has become one of my favorites to watch every Halloween. Like, it is just Halloween personified, is it not? Jill, what's your overall thoughts on Trick or Treat?
That was one of my notes. Like, this one is on my like Halloween rotation every single year. I call it my Holy Hallows Eve Trinity. We got Trick or Treat, we got Halloween Town, and we got Hocus Pocus.
Ooh.
And I'm sorry I didn't put Halloween on there. Trinity is the word I chose. It sounded cooler than 4, so I couldn't think of a cool word for 4. So
What's Halloween Town? I've never even heard of that movie.
What?
sir,
Really?
Uh-oh. Did I step in
It's
the
like-
proverbial dog poo?
it's like a Disney Channel classic.
Yeah,
So good.
It's great.
Really?
You got to watch it.
it's a cartoon.
Classic.
We don't
for
get
kids.
that news.
Oh.
No,
But-
it's not a cartoon.
Good for adults too. It's not?
No.
Nathan, I'm not the only one.
Treat
what am
yourself.
I thinking of?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's one of my favorite movies of all time, not just like a spooky kind of movie. I've read the graphic novel, which I highly recommend. It's pretty fantastic. I know Kevin's read it as well.
Yep.
To me, the reason why Trick or Treat is like such a perfect Halloween movie is this. And I got 4 things. Just let me yap for like a minute and
Yap
then I'll throw
away.
it back to you guys. Number 1, it's a powerful anthology. And I'm a big believer in horror being the perfect space and medium for short stories. This is a perfect example of that. So each story is so intricately interwoven and they all connect in a way that's pretty subtle. Like, you don't get to see the threads that bind all these stories together until the end of each one. I just think that's super fun and refreshing and just cool. Number 2, it's funny and spooky. Number 3, it gave us Sam, which is one of the most memorable horror icons of like the last 15 years and honestly ever. I love him. And my 4th point is that it's just Halloween, like classic Halloween nostalgia. It transports us, the audience, back to that magical time as when we were kids on Halloween night. And just, I don't know, it captures that immense excitement of getting ready to go trick-or-treating, and it does it so masterfully. Right off the bat, we have the black and white videos with the Halloween rules, and it just immediately sets that tone. And yeah, I think it's a real treat. Logan, what did you think?
I thought it was very interesting because I've never seen any kind of movie like it. I'm not a big like anthology person, but like when it's done right, it's very well done. And I thought this was like well woven, where I was like not thrown into like the deep end with other stories, but very like connected to all bases. So yeah, it was a really good watch for my first watch.
Yeah, you know what? Logan made a good point. I think for an anthology, this is kind of an easy anthology to really dip your toes into because of how they weave the different stories together, which is cool. I think it makes it an easy watch. Nathan, what do you think? What's your overall feelings on Trick or Treat?
I like Trick or Treat a lot, actually. I appreciate the overall simplicity of each story. Each story almost feels like a campfire story in a way, or like Goosebumps except with gore and titties, basically.
I love it.
I do appreciate the way it kind of does almost like a horror pulp fiction sort of deal where you have the different stories interweaving. They're not being told all linearly and you jump around in time. But there are times where the interweaving didn't really work for me. It was kind of like you hear howling and all of a sudden the girl goes, "Oh, werewolves."
Werewolves.
And it's like, that's a bit much. But most of the time it worked really well. Some of the humor didn't land for me either. But overall, I thought it was a really great anthology and would definitely watch it again next Halloween.
What, Nathan, this was your first watch on Trick or Treat?
This was my first watch. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I had never heard of it.
Oh, yeah. That's cool. Like Dan, I forced you to
Yeah.
watch it too.
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
Awesome. And Logan, this was your first watch, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Dan, what do you think of Trick or Treat after seeing it again now?
I enjoy it. I like anthology horror movies. Tales from the Dark Side, Creep Show, Amazing Stories. I don't know if that's a little horror adjacent, but these short stories are pretty awesome. I like how it is, like Jill mentioned, all interwoven. I think it is. I think it's a great movie to like introduce your kids. You're trying to ease them into like a horror genre, adult themes in general. Like they're getting to like 13, 14. You're trying to show them more adult content. I think this works.
I mean, I think that's a great point. Like, I think this would be a perfect movie to kind of introduce anybody really into horror, like who hasn't seen it, especially kids, but like, even people who have just seen a couple horror movies. I think this would be a cool one.
This movie is like Halloween. Like it's very like it very much captures a lot of the spirit of Halloween in a lot of ways. So I'm surprised it didn't do better. I'm surprised it's not a bigger movie because, like everybody else, the first time I kind of heard about this was through you, Kevin. We're gonna do it for this episode of Straight Jacket Talk. I had never really heard of this movie before, but liked a lot about it. I mean, Brian Cox is in it. That's awesome. I love Brian Cox. I don't know if anybody else has seen Succession on this here, but as Logan on that. So Brian Cox is awesome as the what is it, Krieg, the who in the end, spoiler warning, turns out to be the bus driver. I love the anthology. Like everybody has mentioned, as soon as I started watching this and it opened with the comic book scenes, the first thing I thought of was like Creep Show right away.
Yeah.
That was like,
Right.
because that's kind of how Creep Show opens. I haven't seen the show yet. I've only watched the older movie with like a young Ed Harris in it, which is kind of cool. I love this movie being an anthology. I thought it was very Halloweeny. I love Dylan Baker too. He's fantastic in this movie as the principal. He always plays that like slightly off, kind of very serial killer vibe kind of individual, and he does a good job in this movie. I think my criticisms of this movie was the writing is not that strong in this movie, and I think they underutilized. Like they got Brian Cox, they got Dylan Baker. I don't know that they utilized them to their fullest potential, but I liked how they kept the movie light. They kept it moving. They kept it shorter. It's a very like holiday movie. I don't think I'd watch this outside of Halloween, but it's definitely on my Halloween list now.
You know what, Bear Claw, you brought up a good point. Logan had mentioned something to me earlier today, and he said one of his complaints was that he didn't think this movie was actually long enough. He thought it was too short sometimes, and maybe did a disservice.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that, or do you think that like it was just good enough and kind of how they told these stories? Because I'll be honest, sometimes I wanted more of the stories themselves too. Like I wanted to see more interaction with the werewolves and, the dynamic they had with the two sisters.
The werewolves were definitely a highlight. That was a lot of fun, but I think keeping you wanting it more, that's like the part of the beauty of it. You know what I mean? Like that is one of the things that I liked about it. It doesn't linger too long, because I think if you linger on the killer principle too long, which honestly, I might say they did, because I was even getting annoyed by the interruptions.
But don't forget to open with the eyes!
Let him just bury his victims, all right? Like,
This fucking kid needs to go into the grave.
Logan, what do you think? Because you had mentioned it earlier today. Do you think that some of the stories should have had kind of a longer take on them?
I would have liked to see more about the kids that were like gonna like deliver the pumpkins, like, and all that crap. Like I didn't understand a lot of it, and then like 5 minutes of exposition, it's like, oh, I guess that makes sense. I feel like since watching it, like I think it's definitely changed, but like I don't know, I feel like it was way too short.
I don't know. Like I said, I appreciated the simplicity of these stories, and I feel like if you added onto them, you're just adding layers that perhaps aren't going to need to be there. And I thought the number of stories was the exact right number of stories. Like by the end of the fourth one, I was like, okay, I am satisfied.
Yeah, I agree with
this.
that.
I don't need
Yeah.
another story.
Right.
And,
that would have got too confusing too, I think.
Yeah, and I don't see how you make these stories longer without making them more complicated, and the simplicity is what I
and it would
liked
get
about
messy.
them.
It would get messy, I think. It'd get a little convoluted. Jill, what's your favorite storyline?
My favorite storyline, obviously, is the werewolves. Yes, Nathan.
Me too.
I'm sorry. I love
Love it,
Anna
like-
Paquin,
Yeah.
big True Blood fan, and
I'm right there with you, Jill.
Yeah, me too.
yeah, she was amazing.
Yeah.
And I just love these like hot girls on Halloween night, like getting their costume, flirting with boys and luring them to their death. And it just like subverts your expectations so much because you
Yeah.
think they're these innocent girls who are about to be victims of these men, and it's the other way around. Like literally, Little Red Riding Hood is the wolf.
Yeah, I love
And
that.
Yeah,
God, and
Yeah,
she does such a good job.
It
of,
made her
like,
saying that is like, oh, isn't this a little on the nose? Like
Oh,
when
yeah.
she was getting dressed, I was like, oh, when they turned into werewolves, I was like, oh, that's so good.
They had a couple of those, like, they called Lori like the runt of the litter
Mhm.
as
Uh-huh.
well.
Yeah,
And I love that she plays this like really like meek and mild girl, but she's actually using it to her advantage to like
Mhm.
lure in Principal Wilkins, who's a total douchebag. So it is so satisfying, so empowering, just seeing these like hot girls kill all these guys around this fire. It's kind of like a witch's Sabbath, but with werewolves. Seeing them shuck off their like human flesh suits and
oh man,
That was
The-
cool.
They
the
did a good job with
transformation.
that, where it's like
Yeah.
tearing their back, like and the
Uh-huh.
claws coming out. Oh,
yeah,
It's almost like
That-
peeling off a candy wrapper.
right.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a good point.
yeah.
I also feel like that's another one of those scenes, like that one scene in The Shining, where a
Yeah.
young man will be like, "Oh, they're doing this. Oh, wait, no, stop!"
now I'm into something weird
You're
now.
like, yeah, like, oh, they're taking off their clothes.
Oh, this is
wait,
hot.
They're taking off their skin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
Wires crossed.
All Too Sweet Dreams by Marilyn Manson, which is just a banger. So it was chef's kiss.
Mhm.
It was perfect for sure.
That
What about the
twist was
use of
sublime.
what about the use of candy in this movie? I loved the use of candy, like candy, like weaponized candy. Like, oh, that was because that's
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
that was like the fear when we were younger. Is like that somebody was out there putting
Yeah.
drugs and razor blades in the candy, and like
Yeah.
that. I don't know. To me, that resonated with like our childhood when we were going door to door, like seeing those videos in school that were like, check your candy.
Right. This
Yeah.
time somebody actually did poison the candy, unlike all those other times, which were all hoaxes.
Yeah, it was
And,
cool.
That poor kid from Bad Santa.
Oh yeah, the kid from Bad
This
Santa.
is the only other movie I've seen him in besides Bad Santa.
yeah.
Right.
And I love the candy razor blade and how he takes
Yes.
and how he does the thing from what is it, Pet Cemetery, where he cuts the like when they did it in Pet Cemetery, he cut Herman Munster's leg out from under him. Gage there, the little kid. But he did it with the candy bar razor blade. I thought the vomit was cool in this movie. I thought like the candy and like the glass, and I thought Sam's bag of tricks was awesome.
How much
Me
chocolate
too.
did that kid eat that he's vomiting just brown like that? It's just so gross.
One too many.
What was that candy laced with that he vomited like that?
It's never explained,
Yeah.
but I would venture to say poison.
I like too that in this movie they couldn't use any name brand candy, so it's all
Yeah, but I like what they did texturally with it because it's like this like Snickers, like deformed hunk of Snickers bar kind of
Yeah.
like they all look like that. I
Didn't
thought that
the
I thought
candy
that was,
kind of looked gross. Like, or
Yeah.
just-
Yeah.
It was gross in general.
yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, all very sticky and like moist. Ugh.
And it stopped Sam's lollipop razor. This is some monster candy here.
Yeah,
like a shield.
I thought,
Now with extra granite.
Like, damn, this thing is going down. That's why the kid puked like he did.
Always check your candy.
That was terrifying. Can we also talk about the pumpkins? Do they protect you? Sam is kind of a pumpkin. I mean, when you see his hand cut off, there's pumpkin seeds and stuff coming out.
Yeah.
So
he's Halloween.
I don't know.
I wouldn't say that the pumpkins are protecting anybody. I would say that there's punishment for not maintaining the jack-o'-lanterns.
Don't let the candles go out and they'll protect you, okay?
It's a fine point, but it is different, I think.
Well, I thought part of the lore was that the jack-o'-lanterns are supposed to stay lit to protect you from the undead, right, that are coming.
Oh, is that the case?
Yes. But it pisses...
break that rule.
Yes,
but then Sam brings the jack-o'-lantern. Yeah, Sam brings the jack-o'-lantern into Kier's house there and like puts it in his room and like all that other stuff. So I like the pumpkins too, and the one girl who is using it to like fend off the undead children there. Yeah, like I said, the anthology and like using the pumpkins to tie everything together. He tries to carve up that kid's head down in the basement there. He's like teaching his son. He was like, "Oh, until my father taught me." I mean, they don't never explain that, but I mean, they really don't need to. It's just some craziness
in the basement with the principal and that kid. Was anybody else a little disappointed that he didn't stab the kid?
I must go punch that baby.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
No?
You wanted him to kill his
It was
kid?
annoying as fuck.
He called Charlie Brown an asshole.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
And he's right.
It was amazing.
Well, now he doesn't have a dad.
Oh. Ooh. Listen, I got to ask a big question here. Bearclaw has alluded to this a little bit here with the rules, right? And Sam is kind of protecting the rules of Halloween. And we asked this a couple of times in the Cabin in the Woods episode. Should we be kind of rooting for Sam here? Because he's protecting the traditions of Halloween.
I don't know if I'm rooting for Sam, but almost every character that died, I was rooting for death. So, this is a very please the crowd movie when it comes to that. Every death is somebody who may not deserve it in real life, but within movie logic, 100% deserves it. That
Dan, what do you think?
The Halloween decorations down, and like you come home from a party and you're going to take the decorations down?
Babe, let's just take all this crap down. It looks like a crime scene.
I told you I'd do it in the morning.
No, you won't.
Who does
She
that?
deserved to die.
Yeah.
That's the most twisted thing in the film. Coming home from a party and then taking down the decorations right away. What kind of psychopath does that?
Exactly.
Sure. To Nathan's point, everything kind of just feels set up to please. It shoots to please. It aims to please. I feel like Sam's like a passive character for the most part, except for that end story with him and is it Krieger? I always thought it was interesting that he's like in every other story. Like he's there at the end, like he's chilling with the werewolves, watching them feast. Like he's involved. He's everywhere. So
yeah, because he seems to be like the main kind of thread to all these stories too.
Yeah, Sam Hain.
Yeah, right. I think that's what Samhain, but I think that's where originally he was named after was Sam Hain for that kind of mistake there that Halloween made years ago. Your favorite Bearclaw, Halloween 2.
The best. It's the best.
I shot him 6 times.
I share John Carpenter's opinion of Halloween too. That's where you blew up, Loomis. But fortunately, you only had a small facial scar, so
just a scratch.
just a scratch.
Logan, what do you think? Should we be rooting for Sam?
Sure. It's on you. I mean, if you want to root for a dude who's up for killing people, that's on you. I don't know. I'm root for him. I hate that old man.
Kevin, I got a question for you.
Yes.
I got a question. Should they have taken the mask off of Sam?
Yeah, I didn't like that.
No,
I didn't like it either.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought I liked his little face.
You like this pumpkin face?
Yeah, like when he all of a sudden there's a close up of him just like in the old man's face, and he's like, ah. I thought that was hilarious. I laughed out loud.
Yeah,
Joe,
no man deserves it.
As a fan. As a fan of masks myself, I think he should have kept it on, and I think it was cooler with him with the mask on and those creepy little hands than knowing he was kind of a pumpkin monster underneath.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense with the pumpkin monster thing because I mean,
Yeah.
when you smash pumpkins, you're smashing his family.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Oh,
Takes offense to that.
100%.
Jill, what do you think? Do you like his pumpkin face, or would you rather have him with the sack on?
I love both. You know, I love that we get both for so long because Sam's a cutie underneath the sack.
Oh,
Start over. Sorry. Okay.
It's got a good sack.
that's a nice sack.
Sam's a cutie. I love his little pumpkin face. I love his little like baby voice. He's adorable. I love that juxtaposition of like he's this little monster, right?
Yeah.
But he's cute and kind of what Bear Claw was saying earlier. Like you have that combination of like the candy, and then you got the broken glass, the razor blades on the stairs, and it's just so cute, so cutesy, and I love it. And Sam's the best.
Listen, I gotta ask, was he cute crawling on the ceiling? That was pretty scary, you know?
Yeah.
That was pretty demure of
guess.
him.
I got a silent
Oh my
show
God,
on this.
Mary.
He was pretty cute when he holds up that little razor blade candy bar and he's like his tiny little hands. It's like his hands get me every time. They're the creepiest part about him, but they make Sam like
I think it's funny that he has like a back button pouch to go number 2.
Do you think it's just pumpkin seeds? Or candy?
Oh, coming out whole?
No.
Peanuts, nougat.
A little Snickers,
Oh,
Snickers.
Hungry, why wait?
a little payday. I don't know.
Little Charleston chew.
ooh. I was gonna say it comes out like Charlie's
this
puke,
madness.
except out the back end.
Oh, yeah. Man.
I hated that.
What,
Dude,
the puke?
Logan didn't like the puke.
I
don't
mean,
like
I get
that
it. It's
thing.
gross.
Oh, you didn't like
Right.
us talking about Sam's bowel movements?
Yeah.
You'll understand when you get older.
Yeah.
I don't
Hey,
Yeah.
this is the podcast that covers all bases.
Oh yeah.
We ask the hard
we-
questions.
We go where other podcasts dare not go.
And maybe that's
Right.
a good thing. We shouldn't do that.
Podcasts with taste and standards.
And bowel movements.
I love the imagery you had talked about too in the bedroom there with the jack-o'-lantern that's on fire and it's going up the wall and all the writings on the wall. I just love that image. A lot of the jack-o'-lanterns, even at Rhonda's house that were outside, reminded me of what was the movie that we reviewed, Nathan, like at the beginning of Straight Jacket Talk with all the jack-o'-lanterns.
Oh, yeah. I didn't like that one.
Dark Harvest?
Dark Harvest. Yeah.
And like it had that same tone, of
Yeah.
just jack-o'-lanterns everywhere, which is so cool. I love that. And that's why,
Yeah.
like, the atmosphere in this is just second to none, I think. Like, it puts you in that Halloween
Yeah.
mood. And one of the
Yeah,
other things, too, is the masks and the costume design I thought were great. What did you guys think of, they were given the exposition on the school bus massacre, and they had all the kids dressed in kind of those older, creepy masks. I mean, that was kind of scary, no?
That was my
I don't know where
favorite
this
story,
town
actually.
in Ohio is like that. That was awesome. I think this is gonna be one of the few things that would bring me to Ohio. Like that seems like a cool. It sans the werewolves and serial killers and stuff. But I mean, like this looks like a hoppin' Halloween kind of town.
It's
Yeah,
Cleveland Bear
yeah,
Claw.
It's Cleveland.
I don't think it's Cleveland.
Dan, you said this is your favorite story, the school bus massacre?
Yeah, I thought this one was cool. Like,
Yeah.
just all the different masks and everything, and everyone basically they were these castaways that their parents just kind of kept him away from society. I thought it was an interesting story overall.
No, I was going to say, Bear Claw, you're saying you want to move here. I'm saying, what kind of parents pay a bus driver to kill their kids?
With the money they collected together, they asked him to do the unthinkable.
Because I wasn't a huge fan of what they were kind of insinuating there with that. Because I think they could have just had something where like the bus driver went off the deep end or something, and it was just, I don't know. I feel like there was some elements to that story that probably could have been changed, and the story could have still been maintained as like the as it was. That would be one of my criticisms, is just the use of differently abled folks in that sense. I think they could have kept it a little bit lighter if it was just like, oh, the bus driver just screw popped loose and then he drove the bus off the edge, or something like that. I thought that would have been a little bit friendlier of a movie writing kind of thing.
If you just go the school bus driver, his screw popped loose, how do you have him living in town like 30 years later?
I mean,
if he just went crazy,
great.
shouldn't he have died at that point? What'd you say?
He didn't have walls.
I mean, it didn't look like Brian Cox was doing great,
His house did not look
He
good.
didn't murder children.
But I'm saying, like, it's almost like if he just went crazy, something went off in his head. Are we still punishing him like that? I feel like the story as it's told, the parents and the bus driver are put in a very negative light. It's not.
Where's the justice for the
and that's why
parents
we
that
can
paid
punish him without anybody being upset about it. Whereas if he was just mentally ill,
I mean, I think Brian Cox could have pulled it off. I mean, you are talking about a man who played Hannibal Lecter, so.
He did?
Dang.
In the original 1980s Red Dragon, he was Hannibal Lecter.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay.
I never
It was
saw
a
that.
made for TV situation. Yeah, I'm a huge Brian Cox fan, so sorry if I'm going into the deep Brian Cox lore, but
I kind of agree with both of you. Like Bear Claw said, it is pretty dark to have all these people discriminate against, mentally ill, but I also think it's like pretty real. And that's kind of how people back then viewed, people with exceptionalities. So I think it's really real, and it's good to like see that justice. But also, if we have the bus driver kind of go crazy, it shows us like, again, like another movie where someone who's mentally ill just, like goes crazy and just like kills everybody.
Killing
Whereas
people,
the people here are the victims and they get some revenge. So it's a kind of refreshing little twist.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and that also ties it into the Rhonda story too, because because when they come up on her house, they go,
Is that Rhonda the retard?
and
Was
so,
she an idiot savant, I think they say.
Yeah, you gotta call her an idiot
I could have done
savant.
without that, to be honest with you, but
No,
just take the line out. But I don't know.
it's character development.
Then again, then again, it's realistic, just the way we
It
were talking
is.
about with the.
let me tell you, those are some of the most organized teenagers I've ever met in my life. Organized like middle schoolers. Like, I mean, to put all that together is quite a feet. I mean, at least one of them has a future in project management. I mean, that's.
Well, if they did have a future.
No, they're dead.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Thank God.
That's right. They're at the bottom of the quarry there. I mean, that quarry I like, because quarries are scary.
Yeah.
Like quarries are real. Like I like that aspect of it, because it's like there used to be a sand pit by us that we used to go and ride our bikes around, but it was always one of those things where it was like, this is kind of a scary place for something to happen, and I thought it was cool set pieces. Having the bus in the background, I thought
I
was
was gonna
awesome.
say that.
Yeah, those are some resourceful middle schoolers, especially because their principal's a serial killer. That probably keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. You could not pay me enough to get on that elevator, by the way.
Oh yeah,
fucking A. Like,
you guys have a nice night.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't believe in ghosts and goblins, but I do believe in gravity and the power of corrosion. And I'm not getting on that elevator as a result of that. Oh, this elevator can only hold 3.
It can only hold 3. Safely.
No, it can hold 0. I'm out of here.
Well, one less than me, because I'm out.
I think it would have been just scary enough for them just to go down there. Never mind, like, with the prank and everything else. I mean, holy shit.
I felt like they were the most deserving of their deaths, to be honest with you, other than
Well-
maybe the bus driver.
Well, what about that one kid? What's his name? Schrader? He kind of felt bad for what they were doing.
Look, none of this is real. It was just a trick. A bad joke.
I'd say it was a pretty good one.
Shut up.
Do you guys?
Don't
I mean,
care.
no.
Yeah.
No.
Logan,
not
what
at
do you
all.
think?
I said it to you earlier. I was like, I don't care enough about these kids. F them kids. I don't care.
Yeah,
I must go punch that baby.
we're getting a lot of that Poor Things clip in this episode. Yeah, no, he participated. He felt bad, but he fucking did it. I mean, it was a super cruel prank, too.
I mean,
Where
what's
was
her
Sam
name?
in that story? Was Sam there?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was.
Sam-
he was waiting
he wa-
at the top when
Yeah.
Rhonda.
Oh,
right.
that's
It
right.
was-
He just kind of
yeah.
walked by because she was honoring the tradition by having all the jack-o'-lanterns, so she was protected, kind of.
Yeah.
This apparently was a rewritten story by Michael Dougherty. Originally, it was going to be a story where all the kids that were the pranksters were dead, and they were doing this prank on Rhonda, and she was also dead, and it was going to be in a graveyard. And Rhonda didn't remember she was dead, so it's sort of like a Sixth Sense sort of deal. So Michael
Good.
Dougherty thought it was too much like the Sixth Sense and what we had seen before, so he changed it up.
They
this
should have gone
one
with that.
story.
That would have been more. I feel like that's a better idea. I like
Yeah?
that idea. I feel like some of the writing in this movie was a little weak, and it probably could have, like, honestly, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Some Are You Afraid of the Dark plot lines were a little bit better written than this was. I feel like they could have taken even like Goosebumps or like Tales from the Crypt. I mean, those are some of my favorite horror TV shows. And I feel like that I think would be my overall criticism of this is like the writing. I mean, they kept it short and to the point, and they kept some mystery in it. I loved that, but like it was a little bit of weak writing. There's definitely some refinement they could have made to some of the stories and tighten things up a little bit to, I think, be a little bit scarier. But like on the other side of this is like a good Halloween movie. I mean, it doesn't need to be deep. It doesn't need to have like a significant story. It's just I feel like there could have been some minor tweaks that would have made it a little cleverer
I don't
or a
know.
little bit more clever. Let me
I
use
don't know.
proper English.
Yeah,
The lack of,
I mean-
the lack of depth and the simplicity again is what made me like it, to be honest with you. So
Yeah.
but
to your point, Bear Claw, if this was like one cohesive story, yeah, you need that more depth. But when it's like these little shorter kind of stories, I think it works because it's like, boom, into the next. And the way I think the movie's all paced and put together, like it makes it work good. I see your point, I do, but like I don't think it takes me out of the movie so much because of how it's all kind of wrapped together and like the separate stories, I think.
Yeah,
overall.
I think the werewolves and Sam are the strongest parts of this movie. Like those are my two favorite. Like the werewolves and Sam I think are my favorite parts
Really?
of this movie.
Sam was my least
Yeah.
favorite of the stories, actually. It just felt like, here's an old guy in a house, and now there's a creature inside the house with him. You know, I don't know. I like.
You gotta be
I
fucking
like.
kidding me.
I think I'm guessing that we all like the werewolves the best, but
I
I
wonder
liked the
why.
prank story better than, you know.
You like the prank story?
Yeah, I did. Listen, I hate pranksters and I hate pranks. Like I despise them. So seeing them die it made me happy. That's
That makes
all.
sense.
Just warmed you up on a cold Halloween
Mhm.
night.
Yeah.
It's like a wonderful
You like
life.
that more than you like titties?
No. Yeah, the werewolves is the better story. But I do like seeing Rhonda go
Okay.
as she's going up the cage.
Yeah.
You know. But no, Werewolves is definitely the highlight of the movie, in my opinion. I just think the prank story was
That's where the 12
number
million
2.
went.
Yeah, yeah, that transformation.
Yeah, the 12 million is a pretty high number. I mean, especially after talking about the Terrifier movies, and those were done with like 55,000. I still don't believe a 35,000 number, but like 55,000. I'll die on that hill. But you know, considering that was done with that, and like this cost 12 million. There's somebody walking around with a couple of $1 million. I hope it's Brian Cox too, because he gave a great performance. I hope they spent 3 of it on Brian Cox.
I would assume that a lot of that extra money is spent on actors and cameras because Terrifier also looks like shit. So I'm sorry, Jill.
Sir.
I know. I
gotta go.
No, I mean the difference is, like you said, I mean Terrifier is meant to look more grindhouse and doesn't have famous actors. This had famous actors in it that you actually have to pay more than like 10 grand to, or you know, whatever, 5 grand to. So I mean there is that difference. So
I mean it's got the kid from Bad Santa, for God's sakes, you know.
They had to pay him a lot. You know what I really caught this watch is how many times you actually see the opening couple throughout the different stories. And I didn't see that before.
Yeah, they're kind of one of the threads through it too.
Yeah, Emma and Henry.
You see them first, but really they're like the last story that happens, I believe, chronologically.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, because Sam is looking across at, what's his name, Craig's house. And he's all bandaged up like a mummy. And he sees Sam. And then Sam sees Emma and Henry coming home.
Yeah.
But aren't the kids
That
last?
actress cannot catch a break. She is always like the bad guy in movies.
Yeah, I mean, the kids are kind of last. Well, they're not last because they come in right before, right, Sam?
We see Rhonda at the end going down the street with her wagon with her pumpkin in that last shot. So it is the last one.
Wait,
the first one is the last one.
Werewolves has to be last, though, because Werewolves, the girls nearly run
zombies.
over Rhonda.
They run, you see them driving, and Anna Paquin has her hair down, and before she had them in pigtails.
So that's them leaving the party rather than coming into town. I gotcha.
Oh, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
But like Logan's saying, the zombie kids, right? Are they the last thing that we see?
The zombie kids might be happening at the same time as Sam and Robot Girl.
Yeah, because he's he's doing that, and then the kids just went into the house.
Yeah. Got their desserts.
It was so cool how it was all weaved. And like you could see where the principal was burying the kid and Krieg, the next door neighbor. And then they bring that back at the end. So we see it from his point of view. How cool was that scene?
Yeah, that was cool.
Who was the other kid in the hole?
I don't know.
Is this principal just indiscriminately killing his? He's just had enough, and he's just indiscriminately killing his student body.
Well, I mean, I think
turning
there's
his
got to
student
be.
body into student bodies.
Isn't there at least 3 kids though
Nice.
that he killed? There's at least 3, right? Because there's one that's already in the hole, and then he's throwing another one in the hole, and
That's
then the one
that's the bad Santa kid.
But his head's cut off.
Oh, his head's cut off.
Yeah, you're right. His head's cut off.
So it's 2. Okay.
And he killed
Are
a girl
they making a
at the
jack o'
party.
lantern out
And
of
he
the
killed
head?
the girl.
Yeah, they're making a jack-o'-lantern
yeah.
out of his head at the end of that story there.
I
wonder what the traditions his father taught him.
I was wondering where his wife is.
She did.
She's
dead,
gone.
yeah.
Daddy, I want to carve a pumpkin. Daddy, I want to go to the parade. Daddy, I wish Mommy was still alive.
I think one of the holes. There was other trees.
That's
in
what
that
I was
backyard.
thinking.
Daddy, I want to carve a pumpkin. Daddy, I wish Mommy was still alive.
And then he's like, "Go to bed. I want to go be a vampire for a little while."
I gotta ask, right? This has been talked about for a long time. A sequel to this. What are your thoughts on a sequel to Trick or Treat? Jill, what do you think?
This is going to sound really pretentious, but we've read the graphic novel, and in the graphic novel, they have the whole trick or treat story, and then they have extra kind of like little stories to go with it, but it's not nearly on the same level as Trick or Treat. Like they don't weave together. They're just separate stories about like the traditions of Samhain and Halloween and like where Sam comes from. So I think if they did maybe a sequel that's like, this isn't Trick or Treat, but these are those stories, I think that would be awesome.
That would
How
be
does
cool
the
to
does
see.
the comic book differ in any way from the movies with besides the cut content?
It's like shot for shot that that movie. Yeah.
But like Jill was saying, it does explain more in depth into kind of like Samhain. I can't say that word. Samhain.
Yeah.
Ah, ah, my God. Logan, what do you think? Do you want a sequel to Trick or Treat?
I mean, it was fun, so yeah, obviously. I'd like to see more. Different stories. Obviously, there's different monsters that we didn't see, so yeah, I think that'd be a fun time. We didn't really get to see vampires, so maybe they could do that this next run. There's a lot to be left to tell. A lot to be desired.
How about you, Dan? What do you think?
I love anthology horror movies, so more the better. If they want to do another one,
I am almost never rooting for sequels ever, but it's different with an anthology because you don't have to keep the thread of a character or a story of any sort alive. So
Right.
you're not fucking anything up or retreading ground. These are going to be brand new stories with brand new characters, brand new everything. And what I really want out of movies is stuff that is new. So I'm totally on board for a sequel to almost any anthology movie, to be honest with you. Even if the first one's bad, just make the second one good. I can't think of any bad anthologies right now, but you get what I'm saying.
I think it's a missed opportunity. I love Sam. I love Sam as a character. I think there's so much you can do with him. Let's bring Frankenhooker along for the ride. Let's bring some other entities into the stew here and just get real weird with it, but in like a fun Halloween way.
Yes.
I just feel like I'd love to write this. Like I think there's so much like you could do if you kind of took off the shackles that this movie probably had, and like maybe not do like an all-star cast, but focus a lot more on the story and like just tight anthology kind of stories. I think there's still a lot of room here. I think you're gonna have difficulty getting people to invest in that because the numbers are not great for the initial one. But if you came up with if you were able to work around that a little bit, I feel like people are starved for the next Halloween classic, and I think even like a little bit of a reboot of Trick or Treat could be that. You know what I mean?
You say the numbers aren't good, but like we said before, it was never given a chance in the first place.
Right.
And it has gained a cult following. Like it's
Right.
So there you go.
You know.
So you could make those arguments.
So if you could give it a chance, maybe it would do better.
No, I agree with you, Nathan. I think there's potential. That's the one thing I walked away from this movie is it was so fun. It was so like Halloween spirity. It kind of almost like it kind of had a Nightmare Before Christmas vibe for me, where it's
I like that.
it was very like Halloweeny. Like it's the kind of movie I want to watch during Halloween. And it had some fantastic actors and actresses in it, and like there's a lot of positive to this movie. So, and I think that a sequel could really turn up the volume on that. But I don't know. You're talking to a Resident Evil fan. I can't get enough sequels sometimes. So
they have the hook too in Sam. Like I know Sam isn't on the level of like Freddy or Jason or even Art, but I mean they have this opportunity. Like Bear Claw said, there's meat on the bone here. Like you already have an established cult following too. If you do more
Cute
movies,
little hand.
if you do more movies, you're gonna bring in at least a little audience to begin with, and then a bigger audience, maybe if you do it well enough. I don't know.
Then
And
actually
do like
put it in
crossovers
theaters.
with like other things. Like there's like that Love Witch movie that came out. You could have Love Witch come in. You could have like Frankenhooker. There's a couple of
Chef
like.
Boyardee.
I mean, honestly, you might even want to bring in Art the Clown if you could work with them and keep it in certain bounds. I don't know. I mean, there's just there could be a whole new cast that Sam could be part of.
You don't put,
I just think there's
Art the
potential there.
Clown in chains like that. If you want an R-rated movie, you keep him out of it. Art does what he does.
I don't want him there.
Other people like it. I don't, but you don't. You can't chain back his gore.
Art
You
did
cannot do
start in
that.
an anthology, though.
Yeah, and I'm sure it was just as gory as
Was gorier than Trick or Treat. And that, you know what?
Sure.
I do want to touch on that. Is this the only horror movie you've seen where it hasn't been the MPAA, where we don't really see an on-screen death, right?
Yeah. Do we not?
Yeah. I think you're right. That might be
Fat
correct.
kid.
But he wasn't dead yet.
Oh.
No.
He just puked.
Yeah.
Because in the grave, he was like being annoying still.
How could he be annoying
No,
if
he
he
wasn't-
has his head in the basement?
Yeah, no, that was a different kid that was still alive.
That's what I thought too.
The kid that was still alive in the grave had some sort of like clown costume on.
Clown gear.
Because I thought the same thing the first time I watched it, but rewatched it today, and it was like,
Damn.
that kid wasn't wearing a clown. And wait, his head's in the basement. No, that's not him at all.
And you know what? To me, like, you don't really miss it because, the puking scene is pretty visceral. The werewolf scene seems pretty graphic because you have all the werewolf transformation happening. Like,
I mean, the transformation is gory.
right.
So.
I don't know. I thought it was cool. I can't name another one like that, and unless it's been like the MPAA that just made the, director cut all the gore. Like, I think there's Dan, isn't there a Friday the 13th movie that they did all
New Blood.
cutaways?
It's my favorite one too, and they cut all the good gore out of it.
Yeah, that's still talked about with Friday the 13th fans, like looking for the missing deaths.
Right.
It's gone. They don't
Yeah.
have it anymore.
I mean, if you're not even putting the movie in theaters, you don't give a shit what the MPAA has to say.
Was this rated R?
It's got to be rated R, right?
Yeah, I think it's rated
Really?
R.
It's
There's
got boobs.
boobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, boobs will do
Cut
that.
somebody's head off. It might not be rated R, but boobs are.
Boobs. We can't show boobs.
Automatic
Boobs
R.
do be
Free
like
the
that.
titty.
What could it do to Logan's young mind?
Wait. No, Logan just turned 18. It can't do anything to his mind anymore.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
What's it do to our old minds?
Yeah, that's much more dangerous.
Hey, did you guys catch too that little kid that was going in the changing room there? He was looking in on the girls getting changed. That is
This
actually the actor who plays Sam.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
That makes sense.
Why does Sam have human little hands and pumpkin everything else?
You're obsessed with his hand.
I am. That little doll you have creeps me out in your basement. I stare at his hands sometimes when we're recording.
Let's
like
see
his
him.
hands look so realistic that it's very unconcerning. And you
Oh.
know that they focused on that in the movie because one of his hands crawls across the screen.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it does
Yeah.
the cousin. It does the thing or what do they call it in the Addams Family?
Yeah, the thing. It's time for quote or kill. Now we're gonna do our favorite quote or kill from Trick or Treat. I'm cheating with mine because I'm gonna do a quote and a kill at the same time. Because
Nice.
when Lori, played by Anna Paquin, is on top of Principal Wilkins there, and she's like,
My, what big eyes you have.
and then bam! I love that. Sweet Dreams playing, the chaos in the background. It's amazingly shot. I think, to Bear Claw's point, maybe a lot of the budget went to this scene.
Yeah.
Those
'Cause
werewolves
it's-
look really good for a low
Yeah.
budget movie. So I wouldn't be surprised if that one shot was like half the budget. Not kidding.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Honestly. And just how
the
it's
music.
shot too. And the music. Gotta pay
Yeah.
Marilyn.
Yeah, got to pay for that needle drop.
You actually stole mine. So both we're talking about Little Red Riding Hood and how she's actually the wolf. And I love the, oh, what big eyes you have kind of thing. It's cheesy, but I don't care.
Yeah.
And it's a great scene, great kill. I do like when Billy says Charlie Brown is an asshole.
Charlie Brown's an asshole.
Billy Wilkins. Language.
I think that's super funny.
Solid.
What about you, Dan?
I got a line and a kill. My whole thing in general is Mrs. Henderson's scene. I think is the funniest part of the entire movie.
Thanks, Mrs. Henderson. That's a great costume.
Isn't it just perfect?
The teacher
And
orgy.
so, what was
The
that?
The
teacher?
teacher orgy.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was that hot dog?
dog.
He's dressed as a hot dog and fucking a pig up the ass.
Bingo.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
the
sorry.
lie.
You say
It's a
it.
good one.
Like after the kids leave Mrs. Henderson's house and are like, "What the fuck was that?" The pirate says,
Coach Taylor was in a hot dog costume, but fucking a pig.
"Butt fucking a pig," I think.
Oh my God.
It's so great.
And then my kill is, and Nathan will appreciate this, Rhonda doesn't save the kids who scared her. I like how for a split second she hesitates and she's gonna unlock the elevator and she goes right for the up button. She's like, nah,
Yeah.
fuck you.
No! Wanda, look at me.
What are you doing?
It's not a trick. It's real.
Where's she going?
Fucking savage.
Yeah.
You know, Logan said when we were watching it, why didn't the kids try to grab onto the elevator?
That's what I was thinking.
Because they're stupid kids.
Yep. Fuck them kids.
Grab on.
She's just gonna stomp on their fingers and then they'll drop to their deaths anyway.
Either way, they're dying.
That would be satisfying too, honestly.
Nathan hates them kids, man.
Oh my god.
Them kids.
I'm with Nathan. Those kids suck.
I must go punch that baby.
Yeah.
All right, Bear Claw, how about you?
You know, coming back to my love of Brian Cox is his line. You got to be fucking kidding me.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
when Sam comes back and he's like shot him in the face and his hand crawls back and it's like, oh come on, like
That was almost like a fourth wall break, you know?
my kills is predictably the werewolf kills. I thought that was the coolest. Like I thought, you know, it doesn't get any cooler than like I love the werewolf transformation and the Little Red Riding Hood stuff. I'm with Jill on that the werewolf kills are the best. So
Did you guys see some of the trick-or-treaters, I think, going to Craig's house were the three little pigs? dressed as
I
the
didn't
three little
notice
pigs.
that.
That was after Sam had left, I believe. The three little pigs come up, and he actually gives them candy because he's learned his lesson about keeping the traditions of Halloween after Sam hurt him so bad.
All right, Nathan, what do you have for quote or kill?
So my quote is also cheating a little bit because it's like a whole bunch of quotes. And it's the same as most of you, actually, is just all the references to wolves by the four werewolf chicks. Like, the first one is like when Anna Paquin doesn't want to come out of the dressing room, and she says, "We'll make you come out."
Open the door or we'll huff and we'll puff. Come on, seriously, open up.
And we'll puff. And it's like,
I
and,
Forgot about that.
they're referring
Yeah.
to men as fresh meat, which the whole time they're setting this up And I just, I was watching it and I was like, I was under the impression that Anna Paquin was definitely dying. And when it just turned it around like that, I was so happy because I didn't want to watch her die. I thought that character was nice and I liked her. So my favorite kill is actually the same as Dan's. I like those prankster kids dying. I like it a lot.
F them kids.
F them kids.
I must go punch that baby.
Because the prank they pulled, I hate all pranks. Like any and all pranks. I don't understand why people find them funny.
Yeah.
Don't prank Nathan, honestly. But the one they played was particularly cruel because you could tell that she was a lonely little girl and she thought she had just made new friends, and the only reason they pretended to be her friends was to play a cruel trick on her. Yep. Which is why I don't care that the boy felt bad at all, and I was glad he died. And just Rhonda's little wave as she goes up in the elevator, like, yep, you go.
Perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
So I liked that.
You know what I saw in another review for Trick or Treat that I never caught too is you were talking about the dressing room scene where they're kind of making references to being werewolves. One of the lines is they were talking about, Tampa was last year, and the other girl was like, no, it was 2 years ago, right? And she said, you got sick and threw up on a Jeep, in the Jeep or whatever. And one of the girls says, yeah, I had bad Mexican. She didn't say Mexican food.
I ate some bad Mexican, and it was a Jeep.
Oh.
Wow.
I like that they were werewolves and not witches, too. I thought the werewolves thing was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought
Even
it was
if you love
perfect.
witches, there's a lot of them these days. So to switch it up a little bit.
Nothing cooler than a werewolf scene, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I like werewolves.
Michael Jackson
Maybe
in
a
Thriller
vampire.
turning into a werewolf.
Well,
could you
wait a minute,
imagine-
Jill.
Hold on. Speaking of vampires, could you imagine being a chick and you fall for this mysterious man in this mask, and he takes off the mask and it's Mr. Wilkins?
Oh, Wilkins.
Man, Wilkins.
Like,
I don't know, because I agree, but also I feel like Mr. Wilkins can get it.
Ooh.
See?
Okay.
I was going to say, to Jill's point of no vampires, it's kind of cool that he is portraying a vampire,
but he's not really
with the werewolves. Logan, finish us up. Quote or kill?
I think we're going to go back to Principal Wilkins with the quote of, always check your candy.
Always check your candy.
Just a simple one. I really liked it. The way he
Wise
said it was
words.
very menacing. I liked it. For kill, I like the robot lady's death. She was a bitch. Don't look. You can take your Halloween decorations down a week later. You don't have to do it right away. Whatever, man.
But her mom will have an aneurysm for some reason.
That's my mom is coming in the morning. She'll have an aneurysm if she sees this place.
Seeing just some
who the
Halloween
hell takes their decorations down that night?
Could you imagine taking the Christmas tree down on 26? You know, like...
It's time to go.
Yeah.
Get it out in the trash. Logan, you're right. I liked that too. Like she had Sam's lollipop shoved in her mouth too.
Oh, that was pretty gruesome.
I think it's time for our final rating. We're going to rate this movie from 1 to 5 stars. 5 is the Halloween atmosphere, how awesome it is. All the jack-o'-lanterns, Sam just being the protector of Halloween. 1 is going to be that little asshole kid of Wilkins there, never shutting up.
I like
For
Charlie
me,
Brown.
I'm going to rate Trick or Treat 4.5 stars. This is one of my all-time favorites, especially for Halloween. This is a movie that's got to be in your Halloween rotation. It's a great movie, like Dan said earlier, to kind of dip your toes into horror, I think, which is awesome. I love Sam. I love the anthologies. I think it was all done really well. My only gripe is actually kind of what Logan was saying, where he thought he wanted it to be longer. I wanted more. Give me more. But that's it for
You
me.
can't handle
How about you? How about you, Logan? What's your final rating?
It's a 4. I think it's really good. Like, I think it's very well written. I was very into it from beginning to end. I liked all the werewolves, obviously. I liked the principal with his whole relationship with his neighbor. I felt very like watching Home Improvement after that because like it felt very much similar to that.
Who's Wilson in that situation? I don't even know.
Who do you say?
Sam.
I don't know. That's why I asked.
No answer.
Okay.
I like the zombies. I love zombies when it's well done. You know, I'm not into Walking Dead or whatever, but I think like the whole storyline, tying it back like from beginning to end, was very well done. It was just a really good movie. Yeah, it should have been a little bit longer, but like, what can you do about that? You know, it was good. Just a good movie.
I give this 3 stars. It's a really nice, accessible horror movie. It's something I'd recommend. We talked about this before. We recommend it. It's like parents who are looking for suggestions, get their kids into horror. It seems like it's geared towards young adults. And I do get a lot of the nostalgia from going trick-or-treating in my own neighborhood. And for that, like, is, like you guys have all been saying, like, an essential Halloween movie to watch during the season.
I'm going to agree with Dan on this one. I think this is a 3-star for me. It's definitely an awesome Halloween movie. I like it. The 2 stars I'm taking away are just because I think it has a lot of promise to it that some of it could have been written a little bit stronger, and I think that would have made this made all the difference. But still a good movie, still worth the watch. 3 seems like a good rating for that. For it's very specific. I don't think I would watch this if it wasn't Halloween time. Like, I don't think I would pop it in if I was looking for like a winter horror movie or something. Like, it's an intensely seasonal movie. So that's why I'm giving it kind of a 3. But yeah, it's still got a lot to love. But now I really want to go watch the Creepshow movie. So I do love the anthologies.
I'm gonna go 3.5 on this one. I like it quite a bit. I think I like that it interweaves the stories. I said at the beginning, sort of like Pulp Fiction does. That being said, some of the ways it interweaves feels a little forced to me, especially that like when Rhonda is just like werewolves, and it's like, why do you think it's werewolves? What is this? You're just doing that to get the interweaving. It's not exactly, you know, Bruce Willis finding John Travolta in the bathroom. And some of the humor really just sort of made me roll my eyes. I know you guys liked the Charlie Brown's an asshole line. I just kind of went, okay.
It's true.
You know, and then, you know, the kid peeping on the werewolf chicks was like, yeah, I get it. We're being edgy. Let's move on.
It was a reference to The Burning.
The Burning was just nothing but that. Let's be real.
It's cooking.
Jesus Christ.
Logan pulled together The Burning and Trick or Treat.
Two movies on the opposite side of the spectrum.
But I mean, like I said, I really like the simplicity of the stories, and what Dan said about it being aimed at young adults, I kind of agree. It felt like something you would find in a collection of horror stories in the YA section of the bookstore. But I liked that about it. I would definitely recommend this to people. I just think there are some flaws that, to me, it's not quite special, I guess you'd say. Except for Sam. Sam's awesome. I think Sam's cute without the mask or with. I agree with Joe on that.
Okay, I think you guys are crazy because this is obviously a 5 stars. Like I said, no surprise. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's the perfect Halloween movie that doesn't take itself too seriously. It's funny, it's fun, it's spooky. I love the way they tie all of the stories together. I love the way they honor the traditions of Halloween. And I'm going to keep talking about the book, but if you liked Trick or Treat and you like to read, definitely go pick up the graphic novel if you want more of those stories, because they do the same thing. And I just love folklore, and I love folklore especially about Halloween. And I think it's just so cool what they did, and just like a very different type of anti-hero in Sam. I don't know if he's a hero. But I thought it was a very cohesive story. I didn't think it was too long. I didn't think it was too short, because I think if you leave a movie wanting more, it's not necessarily a bad problem to have. And it didn't drag on. So I think that it was a perfect length. So yeah, it's very rewatchable as well. Like I said, I rewatch it every year, and I'm glued to the screen every single time.
I mean, I think overall, with everybody's final ratings, I think we all kind of recommend this as a Halloween watch, at least, right?
100%.
Yeah, that's what limits it for me, though, is like, I don't think I could watch it out. Like, I couldn't watch it in, like, November.
Well, at least you got to put this on your Halloween watch every year, your October watch, your spooky season watch. It's got to be on there, right? With the Great Pumpkin and
Beetlejuice.
Charlie Beetlejuice, right? Right. Halloween Town,
which I thought was
watch
a
it, Bear
cartoon
Claw.
somehow.
Aren't you supposed to be the mayor of Halloween
Has anyone
Town?
seen?
That's true.
Has anyone seen that Monster Squad movie too? I gotta watch that. That's another classic that a lot of people.
I
love.
haven't seen that.
Never seen that.
We want to thank everyone for tuning in to our spooktacular episode on Trick or Treat, and thank you to the Mouths of Madness. This was a super fun costume party. Glad we could all get together and have this review. I love everybody's costumes. This is what Halloween's about, right? Having fun. We'll be back soon with another episode. But until then, always check your candy. And back to the padded room with you.